What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. And I know it has been ages since I last uploaded a video, but NFL playoffs are around the corner. This weekend, actually, NBA is going on, a lot of stuff going on in sports. But this video is mostly going to be about the NFL. And I want to start off about a bit of a, I don't know if it's a controversial topic, but it's been something that has been getting a lot of press over the last few days. So, New Orleans Saints, Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. The Saints went on to demolish the Falcons. They were still trying to get into the playoffs. They did have a bit of hope. They didn't control their own destiny. They had to beat Atlanta, and then they needed help from other teams. They didn't get that help, so they didn't get in. But everyone is talking about the end of the game when the Saints came out in victory formation on the goal line, and instead of kneeling the ball, they ran the ball in for a touchdown. And when the game ended and the teams were out midfield shaking hands, now former Atlanta Falcons head coach Arthur Smith went and found Dennis Allen and immediately started chewing him out because basically the Saints broke one of the unwritten rules in sports where when you're blowing a team out like that and the game is about to end, just kneel the game out. It's the same thing in the NBA where one team's blowing out another team, you're inside a minute left or whatever, just dribble the ball out, just try and get to the end of the game because the other team is basically conceding the game to you. They're not playing defense, they're not trying, so it's pretty unsportsmanlike to go out and try and score. But me personally, I'm not really a big unwritten rules guy in sports. If teams want to do that, go ahead. If anything, the other team will just use it for motivation if and when they see them again. But the thing that is so unique about this incident is that Jameis Winston, who was in at quarterback for the Saints, he's the backup quarterback for the Saints. Derrick Carr has been their starter all year. Apparently, Jameis Winston and the team went against the wishes of Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen, the Saints head coach, told the team to line up in victory formation to kneel the game out. But instead, the Saints came out in victory formation, ran a play, and got it into the end zone. And it left some people saying that Jameis Winston made a mistake and that he should not have done that because it undermines the authority of the head coach of the team. The head coach of an NFL team is supposed to be the guy that has not the power, but he's supposed to be one of the more respected guys in the locker room. He's the leader. He's the ultimate leader of a football team because players look to him for guidance. He's the one telling players what to do. And Jameis Winston basically undercut his coach's authority and did whatever he wanted. And if he's the starting quarterback, maybe, but he's a backup quarterback. And so he's basically out there auditioning for other teams. And when teams see that there's a guy who is undermining the authority of his head coach and not doing what he was told, I think that leaves a lot of teams thinking that we don't know if we can trust this guy if we ever want to sign him again. So when I saw the play live, I wasn't thinking about it like that at first, but then I saw Shannon Sharp on First Take basically say that he would cut Jameis Winston today. That's what he said Monday morning because the crew was talking about the incident. And a lot of people have very different opinions on this. Most fans are like, they basically think it was classic Jameis Winston being funny, trying to get his guys a score, and a lot of people are saying, former players actually, that he made a mistake and that it's a lot more serious than people are letting on. So let me know what you guys think about that. I just thought it was a very unique and kind of funny thing that happened in a game that we didn't really think we would be talking about past Sunday. And so the next thing I want to talk about is the Tennessee Titans because they're one of the teams that are going to be looking for a new head coach going into the next season. They fired Mike Vrabel, and it's looking like Derrick Henry, the cornerstone of their franchise over the last, 6-7 years, is not going to be on the team anymore. After the game, when they beat the Jaguars, so the Jaguars and the Titans was actually an important game because the Bills, the Steelers, and other teams were needing the Jaguars to lose so that they could get into the playoffs. And so the Jaguars were upset by the Titans because Derrick Henry had a stellar day on the ground. And Derrick Henry actually had another great season for Tennessee, another 1,100-yard rushing season, 12 touchdowns. But the Titans are looking like they're going to go in a different direction because they fired their head coach, who has been very good for them. They did finish last in the division, but it looks like they are kind of going into somewhat of a rebuild mode. Is Will Levis going to be their quarterback next year? Probably. He did show some great flashes, and the best game he played was that Monday Night Football game against the Dolphins when they overcame a 14-point deficit with inside of 4 minutes to go. That was a great game by Tennessee and by Will Levis, but most people view this as somewhat of a shocking firing because Mike Vrabel and the Titans have, in years past, been one of the best teams in the league. I still remember when they were kind of on the come up. They had just inserted Ryan Tannehill. Nobody really thought Ryan Tannehill was going to be much of anything after his stint with the Dolphins. They put in Ryan Tannehill. They basically make Derrick Henry the centerpiece of their offense. And then they also had A.J. Brown on their team, who was fresh out of Ole Miss. And then they kind of had a big three on offense in Tennessee. And many people thought that they could have a chance to go to the Super Bowl maybe during that era. They were the #1 seed the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl, but then Joe Burrow and Cincinnati went to Tennessee and upset them. And basically, that was kind of the last straw because the Titans never really got back to that level after that game. So, no Derrick Henry next year in Tennessee probably. Mike Vrabel is out. That is going to be a situation where I think it's a decent situation for a head coach to want to go there. The division is going to be tough because you still have Jacksonville, even though they had a disappointing season. And now you're going to be dealing with C.J. Stroud for the next however many years. Insane rookie season for C.J. Stroud. And the Colts have shown that they are not a team that is just going to be run over. Anthony Richardson got hurt this year, and their season basically came down to one play on that 4th and 1 where Tyler Goodson dropped the pass, unfortunately. But it was a worse throw by Gardner Minshew. So, yeah, that division is going to be tough. Another head coaching opening, Tennessee, that's going to be very interesting to see who fills that role. And so the last thing that I want to talk about in this video isn't going to be that long. I want to talk about the Buffalo Bills because in my opinion, I think they are the most dangerous team in the playoffs, at least in the AFC. Maybe not the entire playoffs, but when you look at the AFC, Baltimore looks like the head of the snake right now. Lamar Jackson probably going to win his second MVP. Their defense is playing out of their mind. And when you look at what the Ravens are doing, they're doing this without Mark Andrews, without guys like J.K. Dobbins, really good players. But we've seen in the past Baltimore not have a ton of playoff success with Lamar Jackson. And I just look at the Buffalo Bills right now. And ever since that loss to the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football, they fired OC Ken Dorsey, and they've just been on an absolute tear, really on both sides of the ball, because on offense, they found a balance. They're leaning on James Cook in the running game more. Josh Allen is still the heart and soul of the team, making all the plays, but he doesn't have to play hero ball, and I think that was a thing in the past that gave Buffalo, and Josh Allen in particular, a lot of trouble. In the NFL, when you're trying to get one guy just to do everything, he's bound to make mistakes. And I think a guy like Josh Allen, he's a risk taker by nature, so you're going to have to live with some of the turnovers you get from him. And I said this in one of my Instagram posts. You have to take the bad with the good when it comes to Josh Allen, because the good and the upside of what he gives you is just so special. He can throw 2 interceptions in the red zone like he did against the Dolphins, but then he can also basically seal the game on 3rd and 13, taking it up the middle himself, break 2 or 3 tackles, and put all that effort in to get a first down. And I just look at what the Bills are doing. They have the run game established. Josh Allen is playing better. They're playing lights out on defense. They went to Miami with the division on the line and held the Dolphins to 14 points. It is very hard to stop that offense, even though the Dolphins didn't have Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert was out. It's still pretty impressive to hold a team with Tyreek Hill on it to 14 points. And I just look at what Buffalo's doing. I think you can't sleep on the Bills, also because going to Orchard Park and having to play Buffalo in a playoff game is not going to be fun for road teams. The weather is going to be very bad, but the Bills are used to that, so it's not really going to affect them. And those home fans are going to be a very tough environment to deal with. So let me know what you guys think about the Bills, about the whole entire playoff picture in general, actually. What do you guys think about the Saints and Jameis Winston? Are people sort of overreacting to that? What do you guys think about the Titans and Derrick Henry? Are they sort of entering that rebuild mode? Thanks for watching this video. Gonna try and get more consistent with the videos as Super Bowl, NFL playoffs, NBA keeps going. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and find the rest of my content linked in the description.